The Loco is Bread Butter's first full foam paddle, and arguably it elevates the status of Bread Butter to a brand that competes with the big dogs in the performance paddle market, such as Selkirk, JOOLA, and Gearbox. So I ran a whole bunch of tests on this paddle and found that it's an elite power paddle with great feel and only a couple of caveats you should know about. Let's get into it. So first, a disclosure. Bread Butter sent me these paddles to test with zero obligations. No money changed hands, and they didn't influence or preview this video. However, if you do use my affiliate code, you get a discount and I get a commission, which helps out this channel. So the Loco retails for $199, and you can normally take 10% off with my code Johnkew. But since today is Black Friday, they've got it marked down to $169.69 with code Bada Bing. Now my code Johnkew won't stack on top of this deal, but if you use my affiliate link in the description, it still helps support the channel, so thank you. Now just a quick heads up, this Black Friday sale is a pre-sale, so you won't get the paddle right away, but they're expecting to ship before Christmas. And one more thing, these paddles have been in crazy high demand. Their last pre-sale sold out in literally minutes, and the next batch goes live today, November 28th at noon Eastern. So if you want one, be ready. But again, don't expect to receive the paddle right away, and if waiting for a few weeks for this is a deal breaker for you, then there are other legitimate good options out there right now. The Loco comes in 3 shapes: elongated, hybrid, and wide body. I'll put the dimensions on the screen here, but in general, each shape performs the way you'd expect for its category. So my recommendation is simple. Pick the shape you already like based on your past experience. And lastly, there are 2 colorways to choose from, so a tan and a black, and apparently this launch for Black Friday has many more of the black paddles than the tan. So, like I said in the intro, the Loco is Bread Butter's first step into the full foam paddle world. It uses an EPP center core, so expanded polypropylene, surrounded by a floating EVA foam band. And since it's thermoformed, the frame gets stiffer, the sweet spot gets wider, and the paddle feels more consistent across the entire face. So you can see exactly what I mean in this x-ray. The middle section is that denser, stiffer EPP, and the darker ring around the perimeter is the lighter, softer EVA. It's a fully floating core, meaning it's not connected directly to the handle. The handle itself is filled with honeycomb polypropylene, likely to help keep the weight down. And the face layup is CFC, so carbon fiber, fiberglass, carbon fiber, and that layer of fiberglass in the middle adds a little extra stiffness, pop, and responsiveness. I'll get into how that actually feels on the court in the impressions section. All right, let's move on to how these paddles actually perform with various tests. So I'll start with the radar gun results, and then we'll move straight through the full breakdown. So spin, power, pop, maneuverability, and sweet spot. Up top in this graphic, you'll see the raw numbers, and the radar chart below shows where each of those numbers ranks against over 300 other paddles in my database. The left side of the chart is all about firepower. The top right highlights control and forgiveness, and the bottom gives you a read on maneuverability and hand speed. And just a reminder, these radar charts are available for almost every paddle in my database, so if you want to compare anything side by side, head over to JohnKewPickleball.com or click the link in the description. So now looking at the numbers, all 3 paddle shapes are power paddles. Their power and pop percentiles land in the high 80s and 90s across the board. For overall firepower, the hybrid and elongated shapes both score a 92, while the wide body comes in a little lower at 88. So spin is solid on all 3. My units tested between 2050 and 2150 RPM, which translates to spin meta scores in the 70s. That being said, when I was using them on a court, I never really felt starved for any extra spin, so I could shape the ball the way you'd expect with a peel ply raw carbon fiber surface texture. Now, maneuverability is where the paddle shape really matters. The elongated Loco swings a bit heavier, coming in at 121.4 stock. The hybrid and the wide body are noticeably quicker at 115 and 109 swing weight, respectively. And you'll see that reflected in their percentile rankings for both swing weight and balance point. So depending on what swing weight you're comfortable with, choose your shape accordingly. The elongated paddle isn't too heavy for an elongated paddle, but it's definitely heavier than its shorter siblings. And fortunately, having 3 shapes means there's an option that'll fit most players. So next, I ran all 3 paddles through my ball cannon to measure KewCOR. If you're new to that term, it's my own version of the USAP's PBCOR rating, or what UPAA calls PEF. In simple terms, it means how much energy the paddle returns to the ball when they collide, or put another way, it's a firepower score. On this chart, you can see all 3 LOCO shapes land between 0.41 and 0.42, which sits solidly in the high power category. And when you combine these KewCOR results with the radar gun data into a single firepower metascore, here's what you get. The elongated LOCO scores a 92, the hybrid shape edges a bit higher at 94, and the widebody comes in at 84. And for context, these numbers are right in line with other popular paddles like the Ronbus Quanta and the Luz Inferno on the high side, and the Thrive Fury on the low side. These paddles are really best suited for players who are comfortable with high power paddles, but who also want a wide forgiving sweet spot. That bigger sweet spot definitely adds some control, but let's be clear here, these are power paddles. And compared to something like the Honolulu NF or FC Plus series, you're giving up quite a bit of control on the softer touch shots. Now, in terms of feel, the LOCO has a crisp contact, which can be pleasant if you like that paddle that's on the stiffer, hollower side, and that also has that fiberglass snap from the CFC layup. Now, I wouldn't call it as stiff or hollow as the Boomstik, but it's definitely stiffer and hollower than the Honolulu J2 NF, for example. Now, if you can manage the pop, all 3 shapes can absolutely support a balanced play style. You can slow things down, play defensively, and be patient, but the power's always right there when you need it. I will say I struggled at first with controlling the pop, especially on mid-court resets. And I could definitely feel that stiffer fiberglass layer there. So the ball felt like it was leaving the face faster compared to the more dwelly feel of other full foam paddles. Now, for me, and just to be clear, I don't think many other people will share this opinion, the pop on the LOCO was just a bit more unpredictable to me than the Boomstik. And maybe that's the fiberglass talking, since the Boomstik doesn't have it. And both paddles are very poppy, but it surprised me that the LOCO gave me more trouble, initially at least. There was something about that combination of stiffness, pop, and springiness that was just a bit hard to tame. Now, that said, the widebody LOCO solved this for me. The oversized sweet spot and the wider face smoothed out the pop, and because it's got a lower swing weight stock, you can add a solid amount of perimeter weighting, which naturally mellows out pop even more. And stick around for the mod section coming up next, where I'll give you the details on how I modified each paddle. Once I dialed in the power and feel on all 3 shapes, my personal favorite ended up being the hybrid. It gave me a little bit more juice than the widebody, but was noticeably more forgiving and maneuverable than the elongated. So now let's talk paddle mods. For the elongated, there really wasn't much room to add weight. So I went with a simple approach, so a 2-inch strip of 0.5 gram per inch tuning tape on each side at the cheeks. And that pushed the swing weight to 125 and the twist weight to 6.5. For the hybrid, I added a 3-gram pod to each side at 3 and 9 o'clock. After modding, the paddle came in at 117.4 swing weight and 7.5 twist weight. And for the widebody, I used the 5-gram slice sliders at 3 and 9 o'clock, which brought it to 111.2 swing weight and an 8.1 twist weight. So on both the hybrid and the widebody, these mods really opened up the sweet spot without making the paddle feel too heavy or clunky. They also helped to tame some of the pop you get from the stock versions. So here are my final thoughts on the Bread Butter LOCO. I do think it's one of the stronger options in the full foam floating court category if you're looking for a high power paddle with a lot of pop. The feel is also quite nice if you like that hollow and stiff feel similar to Gen 3 paddles like the JOOLA Pro IV. And I will say that the LOCO isn't quite as hollow and stiff as the Boomstik. The LOCO feels a tad denser, and it has that fiberglass activation layer, which does add some springiness. That being said, if you struggle to control paddles in the elite power range, then this one probably isn't for you. Now, the Loco does have an oversized sweet spot, which definitely helps with control, but there's still a trade-off when you're dealing with this level of firepower. If you do like high-power paddles with a slightly hollow, stiff feel, and you're okay with that fiberglass in the layup, there really aren't many better options out there. In terms of pure performance, I do think the Loco absolutely competes with the Boomstik, and it comes in at more than $100 less. Now, with the Black Friday pre-order going live today at noon Eastern, it's probably very easy to get swept up in the hype. But unless you're certain that the Loco is the best fit for you, I'd caution against impulse buying the second the sale opens. It's a very good paddle, but if you're unsure or if you haven't compared it to other full foam options, it might be worth taking a breath. And the Loco will restock in December, so you're going to have more chances. However, if you do know that the Loco is for you, I would recommend acting fast today because they will sell out quickly. All right, that's it for now. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.